Hello, guys. Hope everyone is well and having a good start to the week. Now, I'm gonna quickly go through um, BTC. I'm gonna give you guys a bit of a crypto analysis of what I'm basically anticipating in the coming weeks and months in the crypto market as a whole. I'll be mainly majoritively going over BTC as alts buy levels and sell levels are mainly triggered and shared with members only. So I'm going to be covering BTC as a whole and the DXY as it is very important. But before I jump into anything, guys, please do leave a like and subscribe. It is very, very much appreciated, and it does help the channel grow as well. So with all that said and done, let's just get right into it. So before I do dive into my BTC analysis, what I'm going to do is go over my DXY analysis, as DXY is basically a good indication of what is to come in terms of risk assets, as the USD is a safe haven asset. So what I mean when I say safe haven asset is investors look to push their money into safe haven assets when you see market turbulence, when you see uncertainty in the market. Uh, Investors will tend to move their money into quote unquote safe haven assets, and these are usually the dollar, gold, and the Japanese yen, as they're seen more reliable in times of indifference in the market and times of difficulty. But in essence, what we've seen is a nice reaction from our the 100 zone level on the lows, which I actually called out. We've seen a nice reaction from that zone coming into the 105 level, where we're seeing some bearish reaction from today, as we saw on Monday market open. If I just go quickly show you guys on my Telegram, as I did call this move in January, the mid-Jan, where I was expecting to see a reaction from the market and then a continuation. Now we've seen price come into the 105 level. I'm expecting to see some sort of a retracement before we see longs into my high time frame target of 107, before we could potentially even come into the 1010 region, where I'm keeping an eye on in the market, mainly because we do have a gap on the high time frames at the 106 level. So I'm expecting this level to get tagged in the near future. So that is definitely on the card. But right now, I want to see some sort of reactions on the lower time frame for the DXY. So if I go on the 6 hour, I'm expecting to see some sort of clearance of lows from this level here, as there is some clean liquidity below. Uh, there is some very clean liquidity here, so we could potentially see a very nice push down in the market, where we see something like this before we see a continuation in price to come in the near future. So I am looking out for something like this coming into the week so far. So I'm waiting to see a continuous bearish reaction from this level before liquidity is swept and we see a continuation. As long as we trade above this level here, okay, as long as we trade above this level of 1.05.6, I believe we will see a very easily come into the 107 to 108 region, even potentially come into the 1010 region, where we can potentially start looking for longs on the crypto market as a whole. Now, in terms of price coming up to this level, investors will get or majority traders, as we are talking short term, will get scared. Okay, when we see price come up to this level, investors will get scared. Traders will get scared, sorry, because we'll see risk assets at much lower prices, and this is the opportunity where I'll be majority looking to buy risk assets. I'll be looking to buy crypto if we come into the 110 region, and I believe there's a very likely probability of that happening, and if and when that does happen, I will be buying BTC. So why don't we go ahead and jump over to BTC, as I've gone over basically my scenario of what I'm anticipating and how I'm looking to play it, play the market coming into the next couple of months. So why don't we go ahead and move over to BTC now? BTC, okay, is pretty simple in terms of its analysis of what I'm anticipating. Okay, we've had in essence two ranges here, right? We had the deviation above, right? Deviation above, deviation below, and we've stayed in retested the equilibrium of this range before we saw the expansion to the upside, right? Very simple. Now we're currently seeing, if I go on to, right, we've currently seen another range, right, this past what you call bear market, where we had price stay below, no deviation, yeah, right, we had liquidity built, right, we had liquidity built, all these lows left unswept, and then we saw the highs get taken, right, we had the deviation above. We did not see a deviation below until we came into mid 2022, right? In around summer, right, is when we saw the continuation bloodbath. Now you could say this is a nice big deviation before we potentially come back into the equilibrium of this range, which is a very likely probability, is what I'm basically anticipating for the crypto market as a whole in the coming few months. I'm expecting a potential retest of the equilibrium at least until the 37 to 38k region. Okay, I'm expecting a retest of that region at minimal. Okay, now there are also other confluences as to why CME gaps are one, as because we do have CME gaps above, which I've covered in other videos as well. But that is basically simple down of why I'm targeting these higher levels, as before BTC, right, after we saw deviation above and below, we did see a retest of the equilibrium, and I'm expecting to see that continued pattern to in essence continue. But if I go into a bit more in depth of my analysis of what we've seen in recent price action, given that theory I've just highlighted, let's just delve a bit more deeper into price action. Okay, so in essence, recently we saw, right, on the smaller time frames, we had, right, about 180 days of consolidation. Then we saw a deviation of the lows, right, which we're currently in. We saw the deviation of the lows, and then we saw price come up and potentially deviate the highs. I think we could potentially come up a little higher before we come down below again, because we do have all of this imbalance, and we also have a CME gaps at the 20k region, which I'm anticipating to get swept as well. But in essence, I want to see a deviation above the high for me to short back again, potentially for price to come back lower, at least to come back sweep the lows before we see a continuation up higher. As again, we have CME gaps features at this gaps at the 26k, the 27k region, I believe, around this region here, 28k region, and then we have one at the 36k region as well. So those are my main high time frame targets, and I will map them out here. This is about a target region 1, right, my supply, and then this would be my second region of where I'll be looking for potential take profit targets in the market. But in essence, this is what I in essence want to see, right? Now, given again with the analysis of BTC with the DXY, right? Now again, given that pullback that I'm waiting for, right? That pullback to potentially sweep the lows on the lower time frames. Let's go on the 12-hour again, right? Again, waiting for that pullback before we see strength back into the dollar. I'm waiting to see some sort of pullback in price, okay? To see some sort of pullback in price to maybe take out any early sellers before we see a deviation back below. That's in essence going to be a good short trigger for BTC, okay? That's what I'm currently looking for in terms of BTC price action. But yeah, so again, depending on how far the dollar retraces before we see that continuation, I am a midterm bearish on the on BTC, but long term on the high time frames I am bullish. Now I'm going to quickly highlight a bit of analysis quickly. Right, I went over ranges, kept things simple, but the way I trade is a bit more different. I trade using different building different confluences, but we have liquidity. Again, let me go on the daily quickly. Right, we have liquidity built, right? We have liquidity built and taken out from all the way from 2020, from the start of the boom breakout of the previous range and the start of the bull run, to all the way to 2022 when we saw the severity of the bear market. Okay, so we have clean liquidity built from before and after, right? Which then got swept after we saw this congestion in price for 180 days, which I will mark out here, right? This, after this low got swept, we saw a clean deviation, which is where liquidity is swept. Yeah, which is basically where liquidity is swept and buyers, smart money basically starts accumulating before a run to the upside, and that's where in essence we saw the deviation, so to speak, right after that liquidity is swept. And this is something you see after sweeps of liquidity as well. So we have clean equal lows, those are swept, and then we see a significant push to the upside where we take out the liquidity of the highs, right? We don't exactly break structure completely, we just wick up higher. Again, this is why I'm waiting for a potential another push up higher to clearly break structure, induce more buyers into the market before we give them another push down. This will be more manipulative, and it's usually how the market likes to push on. It needs to entice liquidity into the market before making another main push. But in essence, what I'm looking for is this imbalance to get filled to some extent. We have clean imbalance, right, to this zone. So I'm expecting at least a fill, at least a 50% fill of this zone, right? Depending if we go higher or straight down first, right? And then that's where I'll be looking for potential longs within this region. Within the regions of 20k to all the way down to 17.5k, this is where I'll be looking for buys in the market from. Okay, I'll be looking for clean buys in the market from this region. Okay, it's very simple. Chart it out however you like. It's right, even if you want to use trend lines. Okay, this again, trading crypto is a lot more simpler, so you can use trend line just to have a I like to just to have a clear understanding of what retail traders may be looking or thinking. But in essence, it's very simple. Imbalance fill. We see a sweep of highs, then come down, fill the imbalance before we see a continuation in price. Ideally, what you want to mainly gorge at in terms of sentiment is look at. I'm going to be a main buyer once people start calling for 10k again. Once we come down here, and I start seeing people start calling for 10k again, then I will be buying altcoins in particular, and I'll be calling these levels with the members as I am doing the 10k challenge. And this is majority why in the 10k challenge I've me and the team have taken profit out at these levels in altcoins majoritively, and we'll be looking to buy back in once we see these levels and conditions met. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please do leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Please do also let me know what type of more content you would like to see in the future. But with all that said and done, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.